Alright, we are continuing in the Tafsir of Surat Al-An'am. I ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to grant us the sincere intentions and the proper comprehension. And I ask Allah to bless our time. Ameen. We recited Ayah 29, but I just want to back up and start from there. The author says, starting with the word of Allah, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وكذلك نولي بعض الظالمين بعضا بما كانوا يكسبون. And like that do we make some of the unjust ones follow after others. So that's an attempt to translate. نولي بعض الظالمين بعضا. It's open to interpretations or susceptible to different interpretations here. So that's just a translation here, which is not the Quran. The translation is not the Quran. We make some of the unjust ones follow after others. وَكَذَلِكَ نُوَلِّي بَعْضَ الظَّالِمِينَ بَعْضًا. Meaning that, according to one tafsir, could mean Allah makes them fall into hell batch after batch, wave after wave. Like what's in Surat Al-Mulk. كلما ألقي فيها فوج سألهم خزنتها. Whenever a batch is cast therein, then its keepers ask them, ألم يأتكم نذير. Did a warner not come to you? Or وكذلك نولي بعض الظالمين بعضا could mean we unleash some of the unjust ones on others. We set them against each other. Or it could mean he makes them supporters of each other. So that's two opposite meanings there. بما كانوا يكسبون, for what bad deeds they used to earn. يا معشر الجن والإنس ألم يأتكم رسل منكم يقصون عليكم آياتي. O ye assemblage of genies and humans, did there not come to you messengers from amongst yourselves? أَلَمْ يَأْتِكُمْ رُسُلٌ مِّنكُمْ. Did there not come to you messengers from yourselves? So according to some of the scholars, according to one, a mujtahid, this is evidence that some of the jinn were messengers. But this saying is outweighed. The overwhelming number of scholars in the nation of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the messengers are humans exclusively. Although that does appear from the ayah. What he said, it does appear from the ayah. But the meaning is either that it means since both groups are being addressed together as one group, then they were all addressed with the same address. But in particular, only humans were messengers sent to humans and genies. Or if there are genies who were sent, Rusul, then it means they were sent by their prophets and not prophets themselves. So you have some words that you need to remember how they are used. We have the word Nabi, we have the word Rasul, and we have humans, jinn, and angels. So These two words, Nabi and Rasul, how do they apply to these three kinds? Human, jinn, and angel. So, for the humans, there is a Nabi and a Rasul. And every Rasul is a Nabi, yani a prophet. Nabi is a prophet. Rasul is a messenger. Every messenger is a prophet. Uh, so Nabi applies to a human, and Rasul applies to a human too. And when you talk about the human, then every Rasul is a Nabi. Okay. The angels, the word Rasul applies. You can call some of the angels Rusul, messengers, but not Nabi. Nabi does not apply to the angels. Only Rasul, messenger, not prophet. So Allah has angels who are messengers, and none of the angels are prophets. Now, what about the jinn? So here we have this ayah. يا معشر الجن والإنس ألم يأتكم رسل منكم. O ye assemblage of genies and humans, did there not come to you messengers from amongst yourselves? It looks like, it appears that there is, it is possible to apply Rasul to a jinn. Is it possible? So, not with the meaning of a prophet. It is possible with the meaning of being sent by his prophet. He would be the Rasul of a Rasul, or the Rasul of a Nabi. Like Allah said about some of the jinn, وَلَّوْا إِلَىٰ قَوْمِهِمْ مُنذِرِينَ. They went to their people as warners. They went to their folk as warners. أَلَمْ يَأْتِكُمْ رُسُلٌ مِّنكُمْ يَقُصُّونَ عَلَيْكُمْ آيَاتِي. Did there not come to you messengers from amongst yourselves relating to you my verses? وَيُنذِرُونَكُمْ لِقَاءَ يَوْمِكُمْ هَذَا, and warning you from meeting, encountering this day of yours. And there's other ayahs that mean like this. Even that one in Surat Al-Mulk is not far from here, the one we just recited. قالوا شهدنا على أنفسنا. They say we testify against ourselves that they conveyed to us, according to Jalalain. They say we testify against ourselves that they conveyed to us, according to Jalalain. يعني شهدنا على أنفسنا. According to Jalalain, there's an object for this verb. Shahidina. We have testified. What? About what in particular? Ala anfusina, but not here. Ala anfusina. About what? That they have conveyed. We testify against ourselves that they have conveyed to us. It is the case, though, that the people in the afterlife, the kuffar, they will just confess and testify against themselves. Meaning, they say, yes, the messengers came to us. Yani, the angels scold them with this question. They are asked this question when they enter into the gates of hell. And they are asked this question in hell also. The angels ask them, didn't a messenger come to you? And they say, Bala. قالوا شهدنا على أنفسنا. They say, we testify against ourselves that they conveyed to us. But this benefits them not. And here Allah showed us where they confess and they testify against themselves. In this same surah, Allah told us they will lie also. They will lie to God that they were not mushrikun. We can ask about that. How are those put together? Although it's not something far-fetched. Are they going to testify against themselves or are they going to lie? Both of those are possible. Yani, both of those are confirmed even. So it is mentioned in the Quran in different spots, that which proves that Judgment Day is of different stages. Because at one stage, the people will be in one way, and in another stage, they will be in another way. So at some stage, for example, a person will be speaking. Another stage, he will be silent. At one stage, a person will be asked. Another stage, he won't be asked. It's mentioned in the Quran. It's not asked. What does that mean? He's not asked. It's one of the stages of Judgment Day. I didn't hear anything here about these two that I'm telling you, drawing your attention to here. قالوا شهدنا على أنفسنا. They said, we testify against ourselves. We're in Juzah 8 right now. We saw in Juzah 7 that they swear to God that they were not mushrikeen. Here's the ayah. Ayah 23. ثم لم تكن فتنتهم إلا أن قالوا والله ربنا ما كنا مشركين. Then their tribulation was not but that they say, by Allah, our Lord, we were not pagans. They are lying to God on Judgment Day. انظر كيف كذبوا على أنفسهم. Look how they lie on themselves, etc. Here, قالوا شهدنا على أنفسنا. They say we testify against ourselves. وغرتهم الحياة الدنيا. God says, and the earthly life enticed them, so they did not believe. Subhanallah wa bihamdi. وشهدوا على أنفسهم أنهم كانوا كافرين. And they testify against themselves that in the earthly life they were disbelievers in the messengers. MashaAllah. ذلك, that matter of sending messengers which has been related to you, it's a matter of fact. That's the meaning. ذلك, that's the truth. And the matter of fact, that matter of the messengers. أَلَّمْ يَكُنْ رَبُّكَ مُهْلِكَ الْقُرَى بِظُلْمٍ وَأَهْلُهَا غَافِلُونَ. That matter is that your Lord is not the destroyer of the towns for injustice while its people are heedless. It means the matter of sending messengers is what has been related to you. Because your Lord is not the destroyer of towns because of the injustice that they engaged in without them receiving the message of a messenger. The verse does not mean that had Allah destroyed a town without forewarning from a messenger, that he would be unjust. No. Punishing the obedient is not impossible, nor is rewarding the disobedient. According to that, had he tortured the disbelievers while they are heedless, meaning they didn't receive the message of any messenger, there would be no injustice. There's no injustice. Allah Ta'ala does not exterminate a people before sending a messenger to them. وَلِكُلٍّ دَرَجَاتٌ مِّمَّا عَمِلُوا. And for each performer there are ranks, recompense for what they have performed of good or evil. And some said this is evidence that the jinn get reward and punishment because they said it is in that context, came under that context from this previous ayah. Those jinn and humans who are addressed together, did not messengers come to you? This means they are accountable. وَلِكُلٍّ دَرَجَاتٌ مِّمَّا عَمِلُوا. And for each there are ranks. Yani ranks in good and ranks in evil. Some of the believers are better than others, and some of the evil people are worse than others. Subhanallah. وَمَا رَبُّكَ بِغَافِلٍ عَمَّا يَعْمَلُونَ. And your Lord is not heedless of what they do. He is not heedless. So that's a negation of imperfection. Your Lord is not attributed with this imperfection. وَرَبُّكَ الْغَنِيُّ ذُو الرَّحْمَةِ وَرَبُّكَ الْغَنِيُّ ذُو الرَّحْمَةِ. And your Lord is Al-Ghani, without need of the creation and without need of their worship. ذُو الرَّحْمَةِ, possessor of mercy, meaning one who is attributed with mercy. Dhu means someone who has something. That's what's intended by this statement here. Possessor of mercy. Al-Ghani very literally means wealthy. So the one who has no need. إِن يَشَأْ يُذْهِبْكُمْ وَيَسْتَخْلِفْ مِن بَعْدِكُم مَّا يَشَاءُ. If he wills, he will exterminate you, Meccans, according to Jalalain, and replace you with whatever he wills of other creations. So maybe you know that this tafsir here is mostly from Jalalain and An-Nasafi. It has other sources also. And usually such statements like this, إِن يَشَأْ يُذْهِبْكُمْ, if he wills, he will exterminate you. And Nasafi doesn't limit who is being addressed here. And in comparison to Jalalain, it's usually Jalalain that limits these types of statements. If he wills, he will exterminate you, Meccans. So Nasafi will be left open. He will exterminate you and replace you with whatever he wills of other creations, or with whatever he wills. But in some spots in An-Nasafi also would be like in Jalalain, limiting it like that. كما أنشأكم من ذرية قوم آخرين. Just as he created you from the progeny of another people that he exterminated. But he left you remaining as mercy. Yani, if he wills, he will exterminate you and bring a replacement for you. Just like he exterminated some other people. And he brought a replacement for them. And you go back to those. إنما توعدون لآت وما أنتم بمعجزين. Surely what you have been promised of judgment day and torture is certainly imminent, yani inevitable. La'at, it is something coming. It is upcoming, yani at means a coming thing, an approaching thing, one that approaches. وَمَا أَنْتُمْ بِمُعْجِزِينَ. So it means it's inevitable, and you indeed will not escape the punishment. قُلْ يَا قَوْمِ اعْمَلُوا عَلَى مَكَانَتِكُمْ إِنِّي عَامِلٌ. Deliver to them a subtle threat, O Muhammad. Say, O my people, strive steadfastly upon your position. Surely I am a striver upon mine. فسوف تعلمون من تكون له عاقبة الدار. You shall come to know for whom shall be the praiseworthy outcome of the afterlife's abode. So, قل يا قوم اعملوا على مكانتكم. Say, O Muhammad, O my people, اعملوا على مكانتكم. Act upon your position. Strive steadfastly upon your position. Makana. Makana can mean place, and it can mean status, like you learned in some other lessons. What's that? Someone who's paranoid about the rules of blasphemy will say, oh no, I'm confused now. Yes, a subtle threat. Meaning, it's not a mere command to commit blasphemy. So that's what I'm about to say now. Someone who's paranoid about the rules of blasphemy might say, huh? What does it mean? Irmalu ala makanatikum? Stay kuffar? No, this is a threat. That's like the other ayah. فَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيُؤْمِنْ وَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيَكْفُرْ. Whoever wants, let him believe. And whoever wants, let him blaspheme. That's a threat. It's not permission. And this is not a real command. It's a threat. It's subtle because not obvious. Uh, the old Arab would understand that, the one who is hearing that, for example, right from the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. And the people who are knowledgeable understand that threat. So they mentioned it. They said it. They said, there's a threat here. And what further proves that that's a threat is what comes after it. فسوف تعلمون من تكون له عاقبة الدار. You shall come to know for whom shall be the praiseworthy outcome of the afterlife's abode. And we'll see who's going to be the winner, who's going to be the loser. You are definitely on the losing team. We are definitely on the winning team. That's for sure. In the outcome, Yani, in the afterlife. إِنَّهُ لَا يُفْلِحُ الظَّالِمُونَ. Surely, unsuccessful are the unjust disbelievers. La yuflih. The unjust ones shall not triumph. وَجَعَلُوا لِلَّهِ مِمَّا ذَرَأَ مِنَ الْحَرْثِ وَالْأَنْعَامِ نَصِيبًا. They have made for Allah from what He created of harvest and cattle a share. Meaning, this ayah introduces us to some of the pagan practices of the Arabs, some of their culture of paganism, what they used to do. وَجَعَلُوا لِلَّهِ مِمَّا ذَرَأَ مِنَ الْحَرْثِ وَالْأَنْعَامِ نَصِيبًا. They have made for Allah from what He created of harvest and cattle a share. Yani Allah created harvest and He created livestock, and they took some of that and they dedicated it. They said, this is for Allah. Yani the proceeds from it are to be spent on the guests and the poor. That's what it's supposed to be. That's what they said too. It's what they did. Not that that's what Allah commanded them. So they established that. They said, this is for Allah. And they meant, we will dedicate the proceeds of this to the guests and to the poor. Okay, this part here, maybe we'll come back to it. فَقَالُوا هَذَا لِلَّهِ بِزَعْمِهِمْ. Thus, they said, this is for Allah in their claim. وَهَذَا لِشُرَكَائِنَا. And this is for our partners, the devils and the idols. Meaning, they also gave a portion to the idols. They dedicated a portion to the idols. So they dedicated a portion to Allah, they dedicated a portion to the idols. That's what they said. Now, someone might be confused here and they will say, well, how can we say they did that? It cannot be that they have a correct belief in Allah while they worship idols. So what does it mean to say that they dedicated that to Allah? Yani, that's what they said. Should we change the words here? Well, this is what they said, first of all. And second of all, understand something. Don't you know how the Christians, for example, say there's one God, and He's the Father, and Jesus is God too? He's the Son. So they say we believe in God, and Jesus is God, and the Father is God. Like this, isn't it mixed up? They said they believe in God, but at the same time they have shirk. So they're like that. They were basically saying this is for God, and this is for the idols. But there's something omitted in the ayah. So think here. Let's slow down. Maybe I'm going fast. The Quran is for people who have sound minds. So we need to think very well. See how things are arranged. So the ayah tells us they gave, made for Allah, established for Allah a share. And then they said, meaning about the proceeds, this is for Allah, meaning this gets spent for the sake of Allah in their claim. And this is for our partners. وَهَذَا لِشُرَكَائِنَا. And this is for our partners. Where did the partners come from? At first, Allah told us. They made a share. They dedicated a share for Allah. Then they said, this is for Allah. And then they said, this is for our partners. Where the partners came from? So there's something implied. This right here means that there's actually something implied before it, which is they also dedicated a share to the partners. Partners means the idols. They dedicated a share to the partners. They dedicated a share to Allah, and they dedicated a share to the partners. And then they said, this is for Allah. And then they said, this is for the partners. Okay, let me say again. Just make sure it's clear. وَجَعَلُوا لِلَّهِ مِمَّا ذَرَأَ مِنَ الْحَرْثِ وَالْأَنْعَامِ نَصِيبًا. They made for Allah, they dedicated to Allah from what He created of harvest and livestock a share. Meaning, they set some things aside to generate money. And then this will be used for the guests and the poor. Okay. فَقَالُوا هَذَا لِلَّهِ بِزَعْمِهِمْ. Thus they said, this is for Allah in their claim. Okay, and that's what they put it there for, in their claim. وَهَذَا لِشُرَكَائِنَا. And this is for our partners. Where the partners came from. Yani, there's an implication that also they made a share for the partners. They made a share for Allah and they made a share for the partners. And then they said, this is for Allah. And they said, this is for the partners. فَمَا كَانَ لِشُرَكَائِهِمْ فَلَا يَصِلُ إِلَى اللَّهِ. Then, and what was for their partners does not reach Allah. It means nothing, no proceeds that came from the partners would ever go towards uh, what would be supposed to be spent for the sake of Allah in their claim. وَمَا كَانَ لِلَّهِ فَهُوَ يَصِلُ إِلَى شُرَكَائِهِمْ. And what was for Allah reaches their partners. Proceeds that came from what was set aside to be for the sake of Allah would get siphoned to the idol department. وَمَا كَانَ لِلَّهِ فَهُوَ يَصِلُ إِلَى شُرَكَائِهِمْ. And what was for Allah reaches their partners. سَاءَ مَا يَحْكُمُونَ. Very bad is their judging. This shows that they really had a preference for the idols over God in reality. And it also shows their invalid thinking. Their invalid thinking, because that's why it says, Sa'a ma yahkumun. Very bad is their judging. How did they manage to manage it like that? It makes sense for them in their own minds, meaning that their reasoning and how they have determined their actions is invalid, but for them it makes sense. وَكَذَلِكَ زَيَّنَ لِكَثِيرٍ مِّنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ قَتْلَ أَوْلَادِهِمْ شُرَكَاؤُهُمْ. You said you didn't quite get the last two expressions. So, the very last thing I was saying was here. This ayah exposes the invalidity of their thinking, that it is not murattab jaydan. Okay. Yani not put together well before that. وَمَا كَانَ لِلَّهِ فَهُوَ يَصِلُ إِلَى شُرَكَائِهِمْ. And what was for Allah reaches their partners. There's a footnote here. If they found what they dedicated to Allah increasing, they would take the increase and dedicate it to their idols. However, if they found what they dedicated to their idols increasing, they would leave it. And they would say, Allah is rich. That is only due to their love of their idols and their preference for them over Allah. And the one before. Okay, so let's just back up here. فقالوا هذا لله بزعمهم وهذا لشركائنا. Thus they said, this is for Allah. Yani, some proceeds were generated from what they set aside for the sake of Allah in their claim. And it's implied here that they also set aside something to generate proceeds for the idols. And so they said for that, وَهَذَا لِشُرَكَائِنَا. This is for our partners. Yani, God's partners according to them. فَمَا كَانَ لِشُرَكَائِهِمْ فَلَا يَصِلُ إِلَى اللَّهِ. And whatever was for their partners does not reach Allah. None of the proceeds, nothing that's generated from the idol department gets siphoned over to God dedication, according to them. وَمَا كَانَ لِلَّهِ فَهُوَ يَصِلُ إِلَى شُرَكَائِهِمْ. And what was for Allah reaches their partners. What was generated from God's, the funds, yani, for the sake of God, according to them, was siphoned to the idol department. سَاءَ مَا يَحْكُمُونَ. Very bad is their judging. Meaning that their reasoning, not this one here. Here's a footnote here. So what they dedicate to the idols not reaching Allah means that it would never get spent in the ways it was supposed to be used for. What they dedicate to the idols not reaching Allah means it would never get spent in the ways it was supposed to be used for, such as the hospitality to the guests and giving charity to the poor. Yeah, it would go to the custodians of the idols. Is this clear for you? Now I'm afraid this got not clear because I just went mixed up a little bit in explaining these sentences here, going backwards. Is it unclear for anyone? Anyone has a question here? Then we'll stop here, inshaAllah ta'ala. You have noticed the mentioning of the An'am. So we are in Surat Al-An'am. Now we're going to see some talk about the An'am. The livestock. That's camel, cow, sheep, and goat. Sheep and goat are one thing, same thing. Ghanam. The An'am are three classes. Camel, one. Cow is two. And sheep and goat, that's three. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Any question, inshallah? Ameen wa fikum. He said, the mentioning of the devils with the idols, is that because of some of the idols being for devils? What they mention in the tafsirs is that they worship the devil. And their devil worship was in the form of idol worship. And that their idol worship is devil worship because the devil is the one who commands them to do it. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik. أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.